Only one groom is believed to have escaped. George Anderson had been intrigued by Belle's eloquent letters, and he decided to pay her a visit. During his stay, at one night he woke up and saw the widow standing over him. Her face had been so foreboding and sinister that the poor man let out a loud scream and escaped the farm instantly. Exact numbers of Belle Gunness's vanished suitors have never been determined, but approximately 30 missing persons cases have been linked to her. They all were writing to Belle, or supposed to visit a rich widow in Porte, or their property was found in her farm. Only few of the corpses from Mrs. Gunness's personal graveyard were positively identified. Among them were Belle's stepdaughter, Jenny Olson. The girl had been adopted and raised by her from early age. According to Mrs. Gunness, Jenny had been recently sent to a prestigious finishing school in California. But most likely the teenager had found out something about her stepmother's dirty business, and so had to be eliminated. Other corpses who could be identified were Ola Bootsberg, Henry Gurhold, and Andrew Helgelien. The latter is believed to be her last suitor. Mrs. Gunness had worked him for a while, persuading him to sell all he has and come to Porte. Her letters were sweet and charming, sexually suggestive. Poor Andrew seemed to have been defenseless to thwart Belle's smart and manipulative language, and so he took all his savings and went to Porte to be with her forever. Having not heard from his brother for a while, Ashley Helgelien got alarmed and started to write letters to Belle, asking questions about his brother's whereabouts. He wasn't content with the widow's explanation that Andrew had probably gone back to Norway to visit relatives and threatened to come to Porte and contact the police. Feeling probably real danger from Ashley Helgelien, Belle started to set the stage for the final act. She spread rumors that her fired farmhand Ray Lampe is insane and had threatened to kill her and her children and burn the farmhouse down. Next, she emptied all her bank accounts and allured a woman from Chicago to his farm on the pretense of becoming her housekeeper. The poor woman was poisoned, decapitated, her fingers were adorned with Belle's rings, and just to be sure, Belle also threw her false teeth near the corpse, so that when it would be discovered from the ruins, it would be identified as Mrs. Gunness. Her plan seemed to work, because after finding the teeth, the body was officially determined to be that of Belle Gunness, and her farmhand was brought to the court. In the trial, Ray Lampe's lawyer, Third Forden, however, succeeded casting so much doubt on the corpse identity that the farmhand was charged only with arson. He pointed out to the jury that the headless body was thinner and shorter than Belle. He also brought many witnesses who had actually seen Mrs. Gunness boarding the train a day after the fire. Her neighbors had also seen Belle with a somewhat thinner, unidentified woman just few days before the fire. Autopsy had also confirmed that all the burned victims from the ruins had died by poisoning and not by smoke or fire. Ray Lampe's actual part in Belle's crimes was never quite clear. He is believed to have been aware of her murders and maybe even helped to bury some of her bodies. But during many years in prison, he gave many contradictory accounts about the murderers and their dirty schemes, and was therefore never considered as very reliable witness. 2 years after jury had found him guilty of arson, he died of tuberculosis in his prison cell. Belle's sightings, however, continued. Many of them were checked out and proved out to be just the cases of mixed identity. In 1931, however, a woman named Esther Carlson was jailed for poisoning an old man for his money. The woman looked strikingly similar to Mrs. Gunness. There was also no record of anyone by the name of Esther Carlson before 1909, and when police checked out her property, they found a photograph of children who in fact could be Belle's. Unfortunately, the woman died of tuberculosis before the trial, so that her identity was never officially checked out. 2 people who had known Mrs. Gunness in Porte visited the morgue in California, and they were convinced that it really was Belle Gunness. In 2008, a team of forensic anthropology students from the University of Indianapolis decided to take another look into this cold case with the help of DNA analysis. The graves of the headless woman and the perished children were dug up and brought to a laboratory. The results, however, are to this day still pending, leaving the end of Belle's story in the air as well. Suspense and mystery surrounding one of the most horrific serial killers in the history will therefore still last somewhat longer.